A dead man wrote a letter to a stranger. He didn't know the stranger's name. He didn't know the year. He just knew one thing for certain. Whoever finally opened that drawer would be the patient kind. It took 14 years to prove him right. Mara Whitfield ran the only clock and watch repair counter left in Carston Falls, in the back room of a hardware store her father used to own. Her hands were small and steady, the kind that could hold a mainspring without breathing wrong. She kept a coffee can of dead watches on her shelf, not broken ones, dead ones, the ones nobody came back for. She didn't throw them out. She said a watch that stopped still has somewhere it's trying to go. People in town called her patient to her face and something less kind behind her back, because she'd spend 3 weeks on a $5 repair if the mechanism interested her. And the hardware store didn't exactly thrive on that. The watch came to her in a box of estate junk nobody wanted, pried out of a burned-out jewelry counter that had belonged to a man named Otto Reyes, dead 2 winters now, who'd run that counter for 46 years, and was, by every account in town, a man who'd quietly carried half of Carston Falls on credit nobody ever called in. The watch itself was unremarkable, gold-plated, scorched, the crystal cracked. But the case wouldn't open. Not with a blade, not with heat, not with anything Mara tried in the first 6 months. And every time she set it on her palm, she felt something shift inside it that had no business shifting in an empty watch case. A small, deliberate weight, like something had been placed there on purpose and meant to stay. The hardware store's new owner gave her 18 months to make the back counter pay its way or close it. Mara kept the watch on her bench through all of it, working it in the hours between paying repairs, while the rest of the county assumed she'd finally found a project too far gone even for her. She tried penetrating oil. She tried a jeweler's loop and a year of Tuesday evenings. The case held its secret the way old things hold secrets, not stubbornly, just patiently, waiting for someone with more time than the people trying to force it. And somewhere behind that frozen latch was the answer to why a man everyone called frugal had died with almost nothing in the bank. The case finally gave on a Thursday in late autumn, 14 years after it landed on her bench. It didn't crack. It eased, the way a held breath finally lets go. Inside, wrapped in a strip of oiled felt, were 3 things. A folded list of names, half the town written in Otto's hand, each one beside a dollar figure, and beside almost every figure, in pencil, the same word, written and rewritten across 4 decades: forgiven. The second thing was a savings bond, just one, bought the year his shop opened, grown quietly for 40 years into something far past its face value. The third was a letter, addressed to no one in particular, to whoever finally gets this open. It said the bond was for whoever kept the counter running through the next hard year, because there's always a next one. It said the list was so somebody, someday, would know the town had been carried, without ever finding out who'd done the carrying. Mara didn't keep the bond. She cashed it and put the money straight into the back counter's rent, and on the wall above her bench she framed Otto's list, open to the page of forgiven names. People came in just to find their grandparents on it. The hardware store's owner stopped asking when the back counter would turn a profit. It didn't need to. It had already paid for itself in a currency nobody had been counting. A dead man once wrote a letter to a stranger he'd never meet, betting everything on the idea that somewhere out there was someone patient enough to wait 14 years for a watch to open. He was right. He just didn't know her name was Mara. If this reminded you that some debts get paid in patience instead of money, pass it along to the one person you know who'd understand exactly why that watch was worth the wait.